You just can't miss a moment, do you? You start. You know what you're doing, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So GM or Ford may not make it.
They may not make it through the decade because they have the burden of offsetting their internal combustion engine cars. What are you going to do with all of these Suburbans and pickup trucks that run on gas when the demand is not there anymore? They make their money, they pay their shareholders off the oil and gas business. But now, out of nowhere, they have to forge an electric mobility business and still be profitable. You can't do the both at the same time. Tesla's completely unencumbered by the internal combustion engine. So,
But they've never done one.
they've never made a car with you know what I mean? With, yeah, so, yeah, so like,
So what if they choose not to? Well, they're all getting into the electric car business.
yeah, but they can't, they can't just stop selling the gas cars and focus only on electric. They can't pivot that hard. They'll go bankrupt.
So they're gonna be hybrid.
They can't do that either because it's still old technology. The internal combustion engine by then will be old technology. So there's no point in doing a hybrid. They're going to try to scoot that along, but even the federal mandates are being tightened for
Old technology like pagers, huh?
Yeah, but even like you see legislation like California is really strictening the emissions standards for the state, which is why they started selling those electric vehicles in the first place. California actually by 2030 are trying to have no gas emitting vehicles on the roads, period.
Oh, wow.
So again, if more states are doing like what California is doing, it's going to force them to pivot, but they won't be able to make money off their electric vehicles without selling them for a tremendous loss in the process of growing. Because they have to grow. They don't have any factories to make these vehicles. They don't have any batteries or battery suppliers. All of this is new supply chains for new technology that they haven't been investing in for over a decade. So, yeah. And you know what else I fear is that when, they're going to be throwing their old cars, their old inventory, they're going to be throwing them at people. You talking about, and people are going to get themselves into very hard financial locks because an internal combustion engine car requires continuous investment in the car, gas, maintenance, and the cars are built to break down because they have a lot of moving parts.
So with an electric car, you don't have all those parts.
You have significantly less moving parts. There's no pistons firing. There's no transmission turning. There's no catalytic converters and spark plugs and oil pans, oil filters, mufflers.
There's a lot of parts in it.
Yeah. So with the electric engine, it's usually just a magnetic, a rotor and all that kind of stuff, and that goes directly to the wheels, which provides them.
So what do you think happened to those two doctors that got killed a couple of weeks ago, last week, in that Tesla? They didn't have the...
Was there any reports of a third person, possibly?
No.
They said that the car was fully engulfed in flames. They found two bodies, one in the passenger seat and one in the back seat.
Right.
There was not a third person reported. Maybe a third person that possibly could have been ejected from the vehicle.
They didn't find them.
Yeah.
But they said, go ahead.
I think that they may have been probably doing like a terrible stunt. Maybe trying to do something that they know is illegal that they should not have done.
Because they didn't purchase the package for the auto.
So it's just like any other car. It's just like if you got in your Mercedes and you put a brick on the gas pedal and all of a sudden tried to hop into the passenger seat and say, look.
Watch it drive itself.
There was actually a video that came out a few days ago. Consumer Reports. This is you've heard of Consumer Reports. They actually illegally tried to rig a Tesla on autopilot to see if it would, they tried to recreate that basically. It's highly negligent, of such a reputable company to try to do something like that. The software is supposed to be used safely. You have to agree to use it safely, but they didn't do that. Anyway.
Yeah, that's horrible. And they didn't have any white lines on the road either.
Yeah.
So the Tesla wouldn't have known when to turn. Yeah, just bad,
I don't know.
bad publicity.
That whole thing is highly speculative, and news companies do run with Tesla FUD like that. You know what I mean? Like, they love a good, oh, look what happened. Oh, there possibly could have been a driverless, you know what I mean? But then they use that same opportunity to promote GM's Super Cruise. Did you notice that? They'll spin it and say, oh, well, in a Tesla, you have to continuously keep your hands on the wheels or slightly give it a response to let it know that you're paying attention. Whereas in GM, you can take your hands off because it has like some kind of like eyesight or retina monitoring or
Make
whatever.
sure you're not asleep.
Yeah.
Or looking at your phone or something.
Yeah. It's interesting. The media is kind of using this to kind of FUD Tesla, but at the same time kind of promote like GM's technologies being somewhat superior.
Well, they are the ones paying for the advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
go to where your ad dollars are going.
Follow
exactly.
the money. Follow the money.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah, for Super Bowl, big money spent on all of those advertisements, but none of that back. Cut your feed down.